Good morning. Lots of high energy happening on the planet today, folks. I love Mother Gaia, that how she promised them a year and a half ago that she would make certain that significant geophysical events for the next year or so would be in relatively unpopular areas, and she's certainly staying true to that, as we can see by the recent 7.5 earthquake in Peru, where little or no damage to humans has occurred. Gotta love the earth is intelligent. The earth is alive and she's intelligent, and she understands us and respects us. If we could only but do the same, eh? Today I have the pleasure and privilege of bringing a group today through called the Pleiadian Council, and their message, they wanted it to be very, very simple. That I'll read the quote again. The question on how to be, because that's the question. Who am I? What am I supposed to be? But how to be is the more important question to ask yourself. How to be. And they said, in order to understand how to be, you have to learn to fear less. That's how you come to be who and what you are. Fear less. When I asked them what a better way to articulate it was, they said to have less fear, to not indulge in fear like so many of you do almost every moment of every day of your lives. So many of you indulge in these vibrational frequencies of fear, which are only energies designed to aid you in the survival of your biology to this point of reason that has emerged in the last 100,000 years on your planet. The capacity to reason, to think independent of your emotions and of your feelings, to be differentiated from matter as the sole point in consciousness from which you would identify yourself as being. And that's pretty fascinating, isn't that? How to be fearless. Yes, they're saying that they see a lot of humanity still spiraling down into the old emotional energies of fear. You have not quite succumbed to it yet, but there is a good chance that you will do this again if you do not recognize that your fear is the only element in your consciousness that is inhibiting you from being what you are as individuals and as a collective consciousness. Understand that. When you have no fear, you are a very different creator, a very different expression of being. The absence of fear is the restoration of love. All emotional energies articulate behaviors in your expressions. There is no escaping that. There cannot be a behavior without a movement of energy. And in the condition of your being at this point in your evolution, emotion is that energy. And that energy can only be positive or negative. There can be no neutral expression of energy. And have changed what you call a rock, well, it is a consciousness, has a very limited access to emotional energy, and therefore you do not see a rock behaving. You do not see a tree behaving or the way a human does, because the level of emotion that a tree is able to articulate is significantly more limited than the emotion that you as a consciousness in that human body of yours is able to express yourself. Without the existence of emotional movements of energy, there could be no creation. But you require two elements in creation, which you call a positive flow of energy and a negative flow of energy in the form of emotion, that allows contrasts in your interactions with each other to assist you in formulating new ideas and philosophies that could be life-serving towards you. Those emotional energies that generate actions and behaviors, ideations that cause you to do harm, will certainly drive forth opposing behaviors based on life-serving energies of love. The question then arises, what then do we need to have these polarities for What then do we need to have them for? Is there a point in our evolution where we will not need those polarities? This may be a question you will ask yourself. And we would say, no, there is always a need for polarity, but the effect, nature, and quality of a polarity does not necessitate that they have to be diametric opposites in order to produce significant long-term change. Gentle, subtle changes can also be done with very slight variations in oppositional energies to move your species forward. Suffering is not necessary at a certain point in your evolution in order to be able to liberate yourself from it. The process of learning from joy, the process of learning from love, the process of learning from excitement and playfulness has its own polarity that does not necessitate suffering, except by way that you make errors in your logic or reasoning, where then you create experiences that might cause you biological suffering. But in the end, in the truthful analysis, you cannot ultimately suffer at all from a perspective of spiritual consciousness. Your awareness relative to your biology is absolutely fearless and limitless in creative potential. Understand this, that your awareness relative to your biology is fearless and limitless in potential. Once it is realized, once you begin to make that distinction between that which is in fear, which is often your biology in its need to survive, and your consciousness or your awareness, which exists independent of the body but utilizes the experience with it to cultivate a deeper understanding of self that is independent of what you experience with your 5 physical senses. This is very exciting, don't you think? That your awareness utilizes this condition of matter to cultivate a deeper understanding of your creative potential as a consciousness. That you are able to assert great change in matter, time, and space from the perspective of awareness than you ever can from the subjectivity to matter as the center of your identity. Matter's survival impetus depends exclusively on cause and effect. Your awareness does not. Your awareness can function independent of matter, which is why you have all these different levels of being that transcend the 5 senses. Many of you are nascently aware of some of these non-physical levels of perception that you have. The ability to see without your eyes, the ability to hear without your ears, the ability to know without apparent stimulation of the senses. These capabilities are inherent in what you are as an awareness, but in order to get to that place of awareness, you must become fearless. You must fear less in order to know more of that which you seek to know. You will not find the freedom that you're seeking through your biology exclusively, although you can certainly demonstrate that freedom through your biology. As you see, there are more and more of you on the planet now, stepping forward in the process of creation and demonstration, showing very clearly that the conditions of matter do not have to be that which subjugates your consciousness to any state or condition, but that your state of being subjugates matter to very specific states and conditions. The monk that walks upon a fire, the man that can remain underwater, the ones that can do these things, they understand that the body is the instrument, not the center of identity. They understand that the body's survival is contingent upon the consciousness and the way that consciousness can intentionally interact with matter. And you are seeking to gain greater respect from galactic elements, and yet at the same time you do not wish to simply understand fundamental things about your experience and expression and how you affect matter and energy and consciousness with your awareness. So many of you are choosing to remain subjective to your fear, and this will simply slow you down. It will not stop the inevitability of your evolution, but it will certainly slow down and inhibit you from being included in different echelons of consciousness that are spread infinitely across the collective conscious continuum of what you call matter, time, and space. That these elements of consciousness, such as ourselves and many others, would love to cultivate a more profound and meaningful relationship with those of you that are fearless. And there are those of you that are fearless that we do communicate with, and this is well known and well documented. But this is our simple message. If you wish to find your freedom, then you must become fearless. It is the only way you will know how to be beyond your fear, is to fear less, to surrender that. And are you willing to do that? So many of you awake in the mornings and you go running off into a day fearing something might not happen. And your fear drives so much of what you say and so much of what you do and so much of what you do not. And what then would your life be like each day if you went into each day with less fear? Preferably no fear at one point in consciousness, that you will have no fear, and what you would do and what you would be and how this would be, you will only know when you achieve this. For even with what we say, even if it rings true to your ears, you cannot know that which you wish to know unless you know it directly, unless you know it from your own experience. Those who have overcome fear by doing the unusual have surely understood, even to a minor degree, the freedom that comes in your experience of being when you fear less. Yes. So if you wish to know how to be, then fear less, and you will know who you are. This one that you have called Master Jesus, and many others that likewise as he, this one became fearless to the point that even the destruction of his body did not stop his consciousness from being, because he recognized, as many others have and many are even today recognizing, that consciousness can function independent of matter. The levels of influence that consciousness can have over matter when it is independent of it is determined by the awareness of the individual consciousness, in that the stronger the awareness a consciousness has, that is, an individual awareness, or what you might call in your language soul, that consciousness, the greater awareness it has, the greater its influence over conditions of time, space, and matter, independent of existing in a physical form. Many of you have spoken of the returning of these dear ones. Well, they are all returning now. They do not require a form as you understand it in order to exist as you believe you have to. Yes. We're at a very crucial time right now, that we have to understand that your body is an instrument for expressing yourself through. It's not something to be subjected to. This world is a manifestation of our being, yes? And they say it repeatedly. And as long as you believe you're subjective to matter, then you are subjective to matter. And your fear that there is nothing beyond what your five senses can tell you keeps you on this wheel of what you call life, this repetition of form after form after form. Some of you for many, 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 many millennia, seeking to find yourself in matter exclusively. You will not find yourself in matter. You are what matter is that you find within yourself. That matter is within you. You are not within it. Be fearless. Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. Hi. If you're new to this channel, please remember to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you know when we come live. We come live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And wow, when they wrote, when they had me write the title down last week, and they said it was they said how to be. That was the question they posed, how to be. And then they said remove the question mark. So I did. It just says how to be. And then they said fear less. Literally, that's what would happen if we did this, if we actually spent each day fearing less. What do you think would happen in how you would speak and talk and walk and do if you feared less? I love that idea. That is just so exciting to me. Isn't that exciting to fear less? You know, especially when there are, yes, so they're saying there are those that are advantaged. There are those that are advantaged by your fear. There are those that are advantaged by your fear. Those that enjoy the indulgences of matter, time, and space more than you do have understood how to leverage your fear to keep their indulgences complete. And so if you fear less, you will have much less to fear. And there will be those that will have much less to cause you fear. For you cannot be made to fear when you are fearless. For you will know the difference between that which is love's expression and that which is fear's chains. There is a strong distinction between those vibrational energies of fear and love. There are very big distinctions between those vibrations of fear and love. And for those of you that hear these words, hear them dearly. To be what you are, fear less, and you will come to know what you are without fear. But you must learn to fear less in your thoughts, in your actions, in your words. Do not let your vibrational energies of fear that you no longer need as awareness to create, to exist. You do not need fear to exist when you are aligned to what you truly are. But you need fear to learn to differentiate between what you are and what you are not. So when there is fear, stop and pause and do not let your fear govern your words or govern your actions or govern any facet of your life. Move in patience, move in silence, move in joy, move in love, think in love, release your fear, and you'll begin to know who you are. For fear will always inhibit you from being fully liberated in your expressions of eternal love. This is what fear does. It keeps you from expressing your eternal love as a being. For you did come into this world in love, as all of us came into these dimensions to experience our expressions of love as manifestations. It can be argued that some of you came in here to experience fear for the sake that you could learn to remember who you are, that you came here deliberately to create a fearful experience, to remember that that's not who you are, just so that you would know once again who you are. But once you truly know who you are, you will not need to go back to where you were before. In fact, it is very difficult to go backwards when you have gone forward. Wow. Hello, Drusilla. Hi, Holly. Good morning, SJK. Hello, Magnet. Yes, for those of you that this is the Pleiadian Council to Earth, is what they call themselves, the Pleiadian Council of Earth, and they really just want us to understand that the only way we're going to know who we are as individuals and as a collective species is to fear less. And again, the structure of the language they give, the statement is how to be. And it was a statement, how to be. How are you going to be? How to be. Fear less. So please remember that. When you fear less, you come closer to who you really are as a being, as a consciousness, as a soul. And again, I'm so grateful and delighted that these beings have come to give us this message today. Just that whole process of fearing less, right? Cool. Hi, Ruth. Hello, enjoy. Love it. Question from JC. Is there any potentially harmful effect with the PCR test? My work is requiring that I take it weekly until I hear about my religious exemption. Again, if you understand the nature of what we said, this would not even be a question at this point. If you truly understood this, it would not even be a question. If you are induced into fear, it has very different effects on the condition of your biology than if you are induced into fears that are exempt of fear. Simply the vibration of love. To be in a vibration of love is going to induce a very different change in your biology. As we have said, there are those on this planet today that do extraordinary things that you would call impossible to do with your body, but they are doing it. They are doing it because they have no fear. And their body will comply to their will. You may comply to the will of the body and reap the rewards of that, and you may also let your body reap the rewards of your compliance to love. The choice is exclusively yours. Again, we would simply say that the vibrational nature of what you call fear and its effects upon the conditions of your matter are very different than the effects of the vibration of love that you would have and how it would interact with your conditions of matter. Question from Daniela. Do the Pleiadians have any advice for me? They're laughing. They're saying, they said it's very surprising how many of you come here and ask questions when we have given you the message already. You think it is not enough, and so you want more, and you wonder why the wheel goes on, why you stay in this circular element of life. To understand what it is you seek, fear less. Fear less, dear one, fear less, and you will find the freedom that you think you do not possess, but you are the very freedom that you seek. But you must be that which you are in order to experience that freedom. You must be what you are in order to experience that freedom. Fear less, fear less. Wow, so cool. Question from Holly. Does the beautiful blue light being who visited me in my meditation have an identity or a message they would like to express to me? Thank you. First of all, they said to me they do not like to be gender specific. They prefer to recognize themselves as a being, just as a being. Yeah, the message is very simple. Yes. The vibrational nature, again, you interpret my identity on the level of consciousness that you exist at. But if you allow yourself to revisit the energy exchange that we offered each other, rather than your seeking to understand the nature of my existence, it is better that you understand the nature of the communication in order to really learn what it is we wish to share with each other. Understanding comes through experience more so than it does through trying to figure things out. Understanding comes through experience. So I encourage you to come back to that vibrational meeting of ours, even in this moment. If you are attentive, you can feel the vibrational exchange, and that is what we connected to experience that vibrational exchange. Is that not why you connect with all things in your world and in these other dimensions? For a vibrational exchange between us? This is why we are here, for this vibrational exchange. This is why we were all here, for this vibrational exchange. Wow, for those of you that want to support my channel, please consider becoming a member of my Patreon page. You can go to you can go to patreon.com/Patreon sorry, yeah, I understand that. I'll leave that for now. Patreon.com/William Forbes. You can become a supporter of this channel. You can also use the super chat feature on this channel when you make a question or comment, and use that also to support the channel. We support a group called the Underground Railroad, which is a group that helps rescue children that are being abused and caught up in the sex slave trade. So please consider supporting our channel that way. Last but not least, got one more question from Reflection. What are the benefits of activating our light body in physical realm and spiritual realms? Thank you. Where the benefits will be quite obvious, you will not feel bound by matter as you do now. This light body that you seek is a vibrational frequency that you attune yourself to. You unite with this higher vibrational frequency. Many of you call it love. There are higher frequencies than what you call love, but for the sake of where you are in this experiential communication, the vibration of love is that energy that you wish to align yourself with. There are energies greater than that still, but to align yourself to this one will take you up one step from where you currently are, to align yourself in that energy that you call love. Yes, the function of fear is very simple. It is to remind you what not to be and what it is you need to become. Aware that you are. Understand that the vibrational nature of what you are is significantly different than the vibrational nature of what matter is. One is meant to be an effect that is caused by you. Matter is meant to be serving you, not you serving it. But the creative process of matter, in order to sustain it long term, requires that you understand the nature of your creative role over it, much of which you're just beginning to understand. How to take care of this planet is a very important element that you are all learning. How to take care of your own bodies is another element. Again, matter seeks to serve that process. Fear is a simple recognition of when you are not operating in alignment with that vibrational nature of what you are as this vibrational frequency of love. Please understand this. The only function of fear is to remind you of who you are. You are not fear. Fear less. Release your fear. Fear less, and you will know who you are and how to be, different than what fear will allow you to glimpse. Question from SJK. My boyfriend had a visitation last night who told him chakras are lifesavers. Who was that, and is there more info for him? Thank you. I don't know, I'm getting this being. This is a being that's sitting in a lotus position, and he's very, 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 very still. And it is understood that these are not independent elements, what you call these chakras. These elements of chakras can be activated in unison with each other to affect the nature and quality of this life-saving element that you speak of, that you sought to know the answer to. The vibrational alignment of all of these centers. The vibrational alignment of these centers simultaneously activated will align you and body into proper relationship with one another, where you as awareness affect change in matter rather than yourself being curtailed by the conditions of matter. These energy centers allow the different levels of consciousness that function and flow through here creatively to be operated consciously and intentionally. You are not here to be subjective to matter. You are here to be influentially creative over it. And you do not need big machines and equipment to alter matter as you believe you do. But the activation of these energy centers is very different. Most of you do not understand these things, that these are centers that can be utilized deliberately and intentionally in the modeling of matter to serve your needs. And your needs are very simple. In truth, your needs are very simple. You do not need much more matter than what you already have to experience the fulfillment of your being as an expression creatively in conditions of what you call time and space. But please tell this one that he may spend more time. They're showing me a spot right on the base. I think it's called the Atlas joint. They're saying he needs to spend time here to open this door from that which is above to that which is below, to allow, they're saying the terms heaven and earth, to bring heaven and earth together in the delight of love. But they're really like focusing in the very center of where the atlas joint is, that plate, that large knobby bone on the back of the neck. They're saying he needs to center himself and allow the flow free. Allow the flow free. Up and down. Saying up and down to allow that whole flow to be free. They're saying even through the soles of the feet to what you call the earth, this flow may be allowed. You are not just limited to that finite form that you call your body. Allow yourself to experience your ability to influence this flow. It will create great change in the conditions of matter as you understand them to be. It is not supposed to be that difficult. Drusilla's asking, do I have a soul connection with the Pleiadian Arcturians? I feel connected. They're laughing and saying, you're asking a question you already have answered. This is exciting that you are finally acknowledging that, as opposed to recognizing it as a question. Should this be a question? No. If you recognize the nature of your question as the recognition of the truth, then experience that truth as a vibrational union. Experience the truth of your question as a statement of a vibrational truth of union, and you will find you will be quite delighted in your freedom. Wow. Cool. I think there's one more question up here from okay, a question from Magnet. How do we fear less but not be irresponsible? For example, we don't want to run off a cliff because we have no fear. The purpose in creating matter was not simply be bound by it. The purpose in creating your experience of matter was to recognize that you can be liberated through it. Again, there are many of you that are simply learning how to master fundamental elements of creation. The effects that you can have over the conditions of matter from a perspective of love are very different than how you would affect matter from the perspective of fear. So you are correct in that if you are fearful and you run that body off a cliff because of your fear, that is not a good thing. Any more than many of you do not know how to deal with the energy that you call emotion. So many of you have these energies, these intense energies that you're invoking, these energies you call emotion that cause you much fear and angst, and you want to get away from your anger and your pain and your fear and your depression. You want to get away from the very energy you're calling forth to create with, and many of you go running off the cliff anyway, trying to get away from your fear and your suffering. So in that sense, all of you must learn to fear less. If you were in a state of fearlessness, then you would not need to run off a cliff, for you would have no fear. Why would you want to do anything that would cause fear? So you know how the body feels. Why would you want to go into fear? Why would you wish to do this? Our message is simple today. If you want to know who you are, fear less. And yes, there is a subtle truth to what you said, that were you to do that and understand that that is not you, then you would not cease to exist at the end of that physical incarnation. But understand, the vast majority of you believe that when that form ends, your life ceases to exist. And then there are those of you that try to escape because of your fear and cannot remember who you are, because you cannot escape through fear. You can only leave through love. You cannot escape through fear. It is why there is great movements on this planet to move into a space of love and gratitude and joy at the point of departure from matter for our soul. Understand the need to understand this is very simple. That you are not that body. It is an instrument that you use, but you have a responsibility over it. Can you live in a fearless body? Can you be fearless in that body and live a life of love? Can you do this? For you will know more about yourself doing that in a single lifetime than you can know in 1,000 lifetimes not knowing this. Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. It's a good question. I want to say there are no judgments here. There are no judgments here. We understand very clearly that the process of self-awareness is one that can only be learned through experience. You must lose a thing to find it, and sometimes you must find a thing and lose it in order to find it. Be patient and kind with yourself. Do not be so anxious. Fear less, and you will know more. Fear less, and you will be all you can be. This is the truth. If you want to know how to be, fear less. I want to wish you all a wonderful and a joyful day. I want to thank these beings for being present with us today. And I will see you all. And thank you guys for the super chats. Really, really, really appreciate it. And hi, Lysandra. I don't see a question there. If I scroll up, no, I'm not seeing a question. Anyway, it's a beautiful, wonderful, joy-filled day, and that's a choice too. I want to say much love to all of you. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for supporting this channel. Thank you to my patrons, and thank you all for your questions and your support today. Much love, everybody. Bye for now, and I will see you on Wednesday. Oh yeah, speaking of Wednesday, we've got who we got coming on Wednesday? We've got Alan Watts coming on Wednesday, and it's called "You Are What You Are Looking For." Very exciting about that. So come and join us on Wednesday with Alan Watts. You are what you are looking for. I want to say much love again. Bye for now, everybody.